Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cheyenne and Arapaho Productions podcast. I'm Darren Brown here I'm a senior content producer here at Cheyenne and Arapaho Television / Productions, and I'm joined again by our Cheyenne and Arapaho Department of Labor. This is like a part two, or part A, I suppose. Would you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Sure. My name's Ann Pedro. I'm the Dreams Director.
My name is Erwin Pamami Jr. I'm the Executive Director of Labor.
Jerry Levi, Coordinator of Office of Veterans Affairs.
All right, so it's exciting because the part one, they were like, I know there's two more programs. We'll have them on the next time.
Yes.
So here we are. And you're sitting right here. You get to go first. And so tell us what DREAM stands for and what the program's about, if you would.
Yeah, so DREAMS is an acronym. It stands for Developing Employees' Aptitude and Marketing Success. So
Thank you. I had no idea.
So we have various services underneath us. We have our secondary education, where we help those get their GED. And then we have our employment services, where we help those get on-the-job training or work experience. And then we also have our tuition assistance for those that want to get a type of certification, whether it's CDL or nursing. And then we also have our Brownsville job training program, where we help them get stackable credentials. Some of them are OSHA, HAZWOPER, lead and abatement.
What's that word again?
HAZWOPER?
Is that somebody's last name? Is it like JOM or something? Or?
No, it's like a hazmat training.
Oh, I was like, okay, it's an acronym.
Yeah, it's an acronym.
Okay. We just started. You already hit me with acronyms. Okay, HAZWOPER. Like Burger King. Hey, okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I want to be serious here.
And then also underneath our tuition assistance, we help with those that are going into short-term or long-term training. The short-term training is more like those getting training in CDLs. And then the long-term training is more like if they're getting training in phlebotomy, or they want to go into culinary arts, something that's more than 6 months.
Okay, I got you. All right. Okay, man, there's a lot of stuff there. I want to unpack here in a minute, but we got to get with Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
As I waited until you took a drink.
No worries.
Well, there was one more service.
Oh, there's
underneath.
one more. I'm so sorry.
So like I said, there's a lot of services underneath DREAMS. There's also our supportive services, where we help those that get employment for the first time, and we help them with, we help them with what's called direct employment assistance. We give them incentive before they get their first paycheck.
That is awesome because, hey, everybody say, can you start, they start tomorrow. Yeah, but not realize you're not on a cycle. So, oh, you start tomorrow, but you won't get your first paycheck till 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. You got to stand in the gap.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
That's a great thing. I'm glad you guys do that. Okay, Jerry. Yeah, you're up now. Talk to us about your program, sir.
Well, what we do is whenever a veteran comes in, we do the intake for them. We help them get their disability ratings. We help families get burial costs from the VA. We also provide an ARPA fund check of $150 a month for food and assistance. Let's see, what else do we do? We help provide transportation services to the veteran if they need to go to either IHS or VA appointments, whether that's in Clinton, Oklahoma City. We do outreach. We try to reach as many veterans as possible out there in the communities, different tribal communities. And, as of right now, we have a bunch of things going on. We're coming up on our event season. We provide, say Memorial Day. We have a Memorial Day event coming up for like a cookout for the veterans to come and socialize and be a part of our events. We have a Christmas luncheon. We have Veterans Day, and we actually started a new thing this past Saturday called the Veterans Coffee Social, where any veteran at risk or they just want to come and have a safe space to talk to other veterans. It was only supposed to last 2 hours. It lasted 3.5.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure so many of those people share experiences that they can't share with, people who
They don't
weren't in
understand
service,
that.
maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and that was an open and safe space for the veterans to come. And we had about 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
We had breakfast. It was supposed to be a coffee social, but you know how natives are. They love to eat. So donuts can't turn into scrambled eggs, potatoes, sausage, and bacon, and great conversation.
And I know that here with our program, we've been to a couple of stand down events
Mm-hmm.
that you guys have done, and those are amazing because there's so many services provided,
Yeah,
and it's just a really cool deal. I think a lot of organizations, do a lot of things for veterans, but I think I've noticed just within not just this tribe, but all the tribes that I've come into contact with, man, there's such a recognition
mm-hmm.
of these are folks that we need to. And like I said, when you're a veteran, that could be we're talking someone from 20 to 80 or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yet there's a wide range of
Yeah,
people you're really serving.
yeah. There is. They're as young as 22 years old, as old as like 80 something years old, just like you said.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like I said, someone who was, who has served or has been there. It's there's I that 22-year-old and that 75-year-old probably could talk about a lot of things
Yeah.
that they have in common, and
Oh, yeah.
that's really that's something that that a lot of people don't have.
They don't. The camaraderie that comes about that I'm seeing when you go into veteran circles, whether it's Native or even at the VA center, when you get veterans together on a table, cup of coffee, water, doesn't matter. We talk for hours, and that's what it turned into. Everybody shared their story. Everybody shared what they were struggling with, and it's therapeutic. It comes off of you, whether it's that stress or that pain. It could be PTSD, it could be trauma within your family, but it came out, and we're going to have those at least once, possibly twice a month now, all the way through the communities.
That's amazing, and
Yeah.
I'm glad. I hope, yeah, I can see that growing. That's
Oh yeah.
and it sounds like one of those things where you thought, hey, here's a great idea. We had no idea there was such a
No.
need for it,
Yeah, it is. It's very needed.
And now it's like no. You probably think, why didn't we do this before?
Oh, I know. It should have been done. But luckily, we did. Well, I did the research. My employees did the research and said, "This is something we can do. We have community halls to do it in, and we're just going to implement it now."
Wow, there's so much more about that we could talk about, but I got to let Erwin get. Erwin's the executive director. I know there's some stuff that we didn't get to last time that we probably
Yes.
discuss again on your end today.
Yes, I know that our tribal employment rights ordinance, want to discuss a little bit more in depth over our job bank that we have.
Can you tell us again what tarot is?
Yeah, tarots are it's primarily an ordinance that the tribes has passed and has been revitalized through our office and everything. And we're trying to focus towards, providing those opportunities. So when there's active projects on our land, for construction, renovations, demolitions, any type of project that involves, where they may need laborers or there are already laborers working, that office is designed to protect those rights for those employees, as well as file any type of claims if there is anything, since it is on our land, and present that to our commission. And the Job Skill Bank is the vehicle that will drive us on getting those individuals with those skills that are needed for those projects, such as we have bricklayers, carpenters, and anybody that can move dirt, heavy equipment operators. Those are the type of individuals that we are actively seeking with our Job Skills Bank. But that doesn't ultimately say that it's just that, because we also outreach towards artists, culinary artists, in those respects of like where we go out to the communities, rather than
With a native preference.
Right. That's correct. Yes. And, identifying those entrepreneurships, if you will, or even just, the individuals that, are there to provide, whether it's, cooking, cleaning, just, whatever service that they could offer. And if there's projects in the area, we want to make sure that we tap that local workforce versus outsourcing it. People coming from Oklahoma City or people coming from Lawton or Tulsa, we want to be in Western Oklahoma, and where these projects are happening, we should definitely have our workforce be the primary focus and everything for those types of projects that for the tribes.
So is there like like a database you're in the process of building or something like that?
Yes, the director, Kathleen Tallbear for the Tarot program, already has a database that she has with applications that are very detailed on the understanding of what skill you have, and she has a kind of a inventory or a listing there, so it's easy. It goes by the other thing that's it lists any type of certifications you may have, licenses, even just experiences too. I mean, if you know how to cook fry bread but you don't have a recipe, you just know how to throw that dough together and that water and the oil and stuff. We want to be we want you to be a part of us, because we're there to again, if people are doing outreach, let's say in Woodward, we want to make sure that we have, a culinary artist that we could tap to, bring on board with us to cater our events. So that way, we're putting some coin in their pocket, we're making a direct impact into that community, and we're also utilizing a person's skills. So that's kind of, like I said, it's a little bit dynamic, So yeah, it's construction, but it's also these other avenues too.
Fry bread makers.
Yes.
Meat pie makers.
Right.
Hey.
Exactly. So, but those are little to known things that, I know Ms. Tallbear wanted to express a little bit more yesterday, because she also wants to explore things about marketing and also actually having markets in certain areas, for those people that either,
I love that idea.
Like do beadwork or they're artists, if they paint or they make regalia, or even if it's just, other things too that, the film industry, we recently had, Mr. Phillips out here, last year, kind of late last year. But, even that thought too, people will contact the tribes and say, hey, we're going to be in your area. We want to see if we have, young folks that can skateboard, or something that's different than, the understand of just standing around, or being the typical native child, that's, I'm not saying out there with the buffalo, but how people stereotype us,
typical native child, hey.
That's out there, coming out of a teepee. But no, the thing is that, we want to make sure that, we are there to provide those opportunities again for employment or anything that's civic related to our communities. And then also just to get them registered with us. And that is one thing that the program does ask that the people do, is they keep their applications current with us, because we know that.
Yeah, that's important. I'm sure.
Yeah. And on so many different levels, so that way, when those opportunities do come up, because sometimes it'll be a day before and they'll say, hey, we need people over here on this project. We are wanting to be more engaging, with those projects. And Ms. Tallbear has made great strides on that, on, being in the now on what they are needing and stuff. So that way it isn't just a one-day turnaround, but an actual projected, all right, in 2 months now, we're going to need these types of people with these skill sets. And
like
that's
our Brownsville project.
Yes. And in partnership with that, also with our EPA program too. Last year we had 2 major projects, one here at Concho and I think one in Sealing, where they did cleanup projects, and they were able to utilize individuals from the Job Skills Bank, and also some of our programs, I think Parks and Recs and Housing Authority.
Housing.
Yes. So
I have to ask you. You mentioned Mr. Phillips was out here. You got to tell people who Mr. Phillips is.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Lou Diamond Phillips.
As in Lou Diamond, as in not my Richie.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips showed up at a very short notice to shoot I guess, a lot of a movie out here.
Yes.
And I had heard something about it weeks before that he may or may not show up. And then one day I looked down and Facebook was full of everybody doing selfies. And I said, God, these people. And won't leave the guy alone. The guy's got to work. Anyway.
Right.
So I know, and you heard brownfields and you got all excited. So talk to us and more about that and what you were about to jump in there, that conversation. But I had to talk about, I had to explain who Mr. Phillips was.
So Brownsfield is our, one of our new grants that we got through EPA. And what it is we train individuals, like I said before, in OSHA and the HAZWOPER training and the lead and asbestos.
Yeah, because you cannot just go in there and not knowing what you're doing, right?
Yes. And so whenever these projects are coming up, after we train these individuals, we can get them into the Tarot Job Skills Bank. And then whenever any kind of construction projects come up, then she can pull from those individuals.
Earlier, when you were talking about all the certifications and things, I'm curious, what are the qualifications for this? Is this income-based, or who qualifies who's eligible for these services?
So almost anybody, as long as they live within our service area,
Which
the
is
tribe service area,
basically what to Woodward and
Woodward, Beckham, Ellis. We service like 12 counties.
okay, all right.
Yeah. As long as they live within the service area and they're Native American, under Dreams, now they have to be enrolled in a federal recognized tribe. But with Brownsfield, they just have to be needing a certification.
Okay. And I guess, like I said, you mentioned some of the certifications. That covers that's a whole list of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you, yeah, I'm not going to ask you for an example because you gave me a whole list earlier.
Yeah.
But you mentioned CDL, you mentioned, see, for those of you who don't know, I mean, who doesn't know what a phlebotomist is? Hey, some years ago I did not, okay? And I said what? But someone who basically takes blood and,
Yes.
and not necessarily a nurse, but someone who works in that field who, I guess, people who work at the blood donation place or
Mhm.
whatever.
We
Those-
also help with nursing too,
Oh,
and your
really?
CNA certification.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's so much stuff. Well, one thing that I mentioned yesterday, but whenever we were here, but talk about the young people are coming in and working. What's that? But that's part of Dreams, right?
Yes, our
Okay,
summer youth
there's-
program.
There's so much stuff going on. I forget.
So we help under the BIA Dreams program. We help with 14 to 24-year-olds, get them employment during the June and July months for 8 weeks, and we teach them work readiness skills. We even have this new program. Maybe Voc Rehab touched on it a little bit yesterday.
The
Sage
program.
Yes.
Yeah, where we help with, we introduce them into cultural and Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, if they're here, why wouldn't we do that? Well, I know, we talked to Tim the other day, and he talked about some success stories that he had, and the services that Voc Rehab provides. Let me ask you, since you work with some of these young people, you got what you said, 18 to 24? No,
Or 14
14,
to
yeah, that's okay.
24, yeah.
So obviously, I know that you haven't. Maybe you hadn't had a chance to follow all of them. from that age, that young age to their full-time employment. But what do you see when they're here? When a 14-year-old here is doing a job for 8 weeks, what do you see? What kind of feedback do you get? I'm curious about that.
So, we had a couple of them that were very shy
Imagine
and
that.
timid. But
I hope we cured them of that.
They came out of their shell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see them grow and want to participate more, especially whenever we started up into the SAGE program. It gave them more like leadership skills.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I know that like I said, we have so many different jobs out here, but then a lot of them are similar, and some of them are quite different. But do you get feedback from the students like they're shocked that the work is hard or that it's easy, or what? Do you hear things like that?
Oh yeah, I hear that they love working out here.
Oh, they just got a little bit of taste.
They asked if they can keep on working.
We should give them 40 hours and see what happens. We should give them 60 hours and see what happens.
Yeah, everybody enjoys it.
Well, that is nice to hear. That's nice to hear. Yep.
I was going to bring up too that the youth program is not anything new either. I mean, back in the day, I participated on the program back in 1995.
No kidding.
I believe Ann might have, and I think Jerry, was you on the program?
No, I just came on at Lucky Star when it opened.
Yeah,
Man, y'all make me feel old now. Golly.
So but the program, has evolved over the years and stuff. As the acts for workforce, have developed and through Congress and stuff, for those types of positive indicators that we are here to provide, as a result of the success of the students. So.
Jerry, you, like I said, we talked quite a bit about veteran services, but just along the same lines, could you talk about some some quote unquote success stories, or stories about how some people came in and you were able to give them this, and or maybe you helped somebody who didn't even know what they were eligible for.
Oh yeah, that's been the whole key of the last. I've been in the position December of 2022, and just right off the bat, I wanted to create a more interactive way of veterans to come in, and I was seeking things that I thought, people said were innovative, but at the same time, it's like this is just something that just to me seemed natural. It was like talking to the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs, talking to VA. We had a PACT Act event last July. And
explain what that is.
It was a promise to address comprehensive toxins. It's if you were in Vietnam or during the Gulf War and you were exposed to toxins like nerve gas and things of that nature, Agent Orange in Vietnam, there was people, a lot of the times some of our veterans, tribal veterans, almost like a lot of Native veterans, they don't want to come into the VA. There's a natural distrust there, whether it's just, it's hard to describe, but like growing up, I remember the VA is where I went to say goodbye to my uncles that were in war, Korea or Vietnam or things of that nature. So it has like a negative connotation to it. And so whenever someone is suffering or, a family member will say, I'm trying to get my family member into the VA. They just don't want to go, they go through IHS. So last year we coordinated with the VA, and we have a great tribal representative that helps us. Her name was Mary Cully, and she helped us organize it, came out here to the Respect Gym, and instead of us taking our veterans to the VA came to us, and they provided on-the-spot medical services. There was people there to take disability claims, and we had one of our veterans whose brother had been trying to get him in for decades because he was in Vietnam, and he was suffering from an ailment that he got while he was serving. He was able to get 100% right then and there on that very same day. Now, unfortunately, he has passed on, but the last couple months of his life, it helped ease the suffering of what he was going through. So those little success stories, we have a newsletter that, I have a journalism background, and it's front and back, and it tells our veterans when we put like the newsletter in with the check every month, it lets them know that what's going on, the events, and on the front is the disability ratings that you can get, showing all the money that you can receive by having a VA disability. And I think because of that, we've got people that are coming in now asking, I had problems with this while I was in the service, and I want to create that nexus between what I'm suffering with, and I know when this happened, when I was in the Navy or the Army or Marines, and like I said, we've had some people that have gotten surgeries because we provided transportation services. They've been putting it off for decades, and now we're taking them to pre-op, operation, and post-op, and that stuff never, I guess that never occurred at all. And now that we're able to do that, the word's getting out.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I think that I was just thinking. We mentioned earlier, you said, it could be 22, year old, or 21, whatever, up to somebody in their 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
And those groups of people all along the way, 20s, 30s, 40s, they all communicate differently.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I think every program probably needs to realize.
Mm-hmm.
A 22-year-old is not going to look at a newspaper. And they may look at a newsletter, but they're more likely to look on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're more likely to look at a text or Instagram or a Facebook post or not Twitter, but the other X.
TikTok.
Yeah. Well, TikTok, which may be banned soon, but I mean, they're more likely to look on their phone first.
Yeah.
And but then again, that maybe that's some information you need to get to us so we can put out
Sure.
on our social media and our little digital signal here as well.
Definitely.
And it could be that the wheels are turning now, and it could be that maybe Well, we'll talk, but what I'm saying is like, but I'm glad you mentioned that because, like you mentioned Vietnam, those guys, those women, they're going to read a newsletter.
Yeah.
That's how they grew up, reading a newspaper every morning, and that's how they get their info, and so that is going to work perfectly for them. And it's just, I think, you just have to look at other ways to reach the younger folks, but. Like I said, you don't know what you don't know, and I think what do you think? And I'm throwing a broad question out at you, but can you maybe nail down one or two things or reasons? I mean, you talked about one, a mistrust of the government, i.e., IHS, and that's where I think we all know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But what are some of the obstacles, the biggest obstacles you see to getting the word out to veterans that this is for you?
What I'm seeing is like one of the biggest obstacles, I think, is getting the Native veteran to submit to like a disability claim. It's like, say they come in on a Monday and they want an answer on Friday. You know what I'm saying? But the process itself is like 4 to 6 months. And when
Really?
because like you put in the disability claim, and then you have to wait for a third party to get in touch with you, and then you go to an appointment to go over your medical and to go over what you're claiming is a disability connection, and getting veterans to submit to that process. Even though it can be time consuming, it can also be very rewarding.
You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, when you think about it, 100% VA disability is close to $4,000 a month, tax free.
Yeah.
And then
who is that not going to help?
Yeah,
right?
even 10%.
And you're telling me you can't wait 6 months for that? Hey, I'll sign up. I mean, no, that is worth the wait. That is worth the. Yeah.
Yeah, even 10% is $160-something.
Yeah.
And that's something that's not taxed. When you get your taxes at the end of the year, there's nothing on there for that. And there's a whole variety of benefits for it. But helping people with their way of life, giving them a little extra money every month. With that PACT Act that we had veterans come in that weren't Native. They were from town. We had put flyers over the American Legion and in Yukon and El Reno and at the VFW. They got the word. They came out, and I think we had close to like $40,000 a month in new claims as well as increases that were approved. That's $40,000 a month. That's over.
And that money is there for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to let people know that's here for you. If you don't take it, it's still going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so you may as well.
Yeah. And see, that story is it's indicative of me because a lot of what Native veterans do, this is just that happened to me too. I think of it as just like part of my life, like an old watch. You just put it in a coffee can, you put it on the shelf, and it stays there until you bring it out. Veterans Day or 4th of July, you wear I would wear my Navy hat and stuff like that, but I never looked into the things that were ailing me. I had problems with my feet. I had a traumatic brain injury, and I just never got help for it because I thought, well, I'll just deal with this. But as you get older, you wake up, you can't walk as far as anymore, you can't run as far as anymore. You have, I was having just things going on with my head, and I finally got in front of a VSO, which is a veteran service officer, and we went over the things that were on my medical record. I thought that were erased in my, that weren't there anymore. And she turned around that laptop and said, "Do you remember this happening? Do you remember this?" And I looked at it. It's from 1998, 1999, and I submitted to the process. I went to all the appointments, and I'm at 60%. And I'm looking to increase that as well. But it helps. It really does help at the beginning of the month. You get that tax-free money, and at a certain point of your age, it becomes permanent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's just say that having someone like yourself who's been through it in that position, that's invaluable, I think. So, hey, man, kudos. You gotta you gotta know, you gotta be able to talk, you gotta speak the language, and you gotta speak, you gotta find. You got to talk to people where they are, and it sounds like you're doing sounds like that's what the program is doing.
Yeah, we can always do a lot more though. That's the way I feel about
Wow.
it. Yeah.
There's a whole show right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to commend Jerry because when he came in and stuff, the program was under a complete redesign. Prior to his leadership and everything, the program was a resource referral program. So basically, people would call the program, they in turn would call and say, all right, well, here's numbers to the VA, here's numbers to IHS, here's numbers to
Which
your local
let's
people.
say it is helpful.
It is, but it's not the
But it's
extra
not
step.
it's not hands-on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next step was when I interviewed Jerry, he said, I'm here, I want to help people.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give them a ride if they need a ride. I'll go pick them up if they need to come see me. You know, and that was the value I felt as, you know, as an employee and also as the new direction that we were given. The governor came to me and said, Erwin, we need to redesign the program. I want it to be more direct service. And that's exactly what we have now. And through Mr. Levi's leadership, I really feel that we've met that. Again, like you said, goals, you know, here and there, you know, but I really feel that, you know, we are in the direction that, you know, we were meant to be.
I think so as well. I was asking you about, you know, setbacks and I've talked to so many programs doing this, you know, and let's just be honest, man. You know, Concho was on the eastern edge. If for those of you who don't know, Concho is located on the eastern edge of the tribal service area, which covers 10, 11, in some cases 12 counties, basically. And I don't know how far Woodward Woodward is, but it's what, a couple hundred miles or?
It takes about
It takes 3 hours almost to get there.
3 hours to get there.
What I'm trying to say is, and when you have people in those smaller towns out there, like, you know, Canton or, I can't think.
Hammond.
Hammond.
Yeah.
Yes.
I almost said Holland. I'm like, what? Holland? There's nobody wearing wooden shoes out there. They got no socks, but wooden shoes. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
No. I mean, I'm not talking, but the truth is, it's in western Oklahoma, and I've said it before, and people probably sick of me saying that, but 100 miles may as well be 300-400 miles for some of these folks.
Exactly.
If you don't have reliable transportation, or if you don't have transportation at all, or someone who you can count on who will take you to those appointments. And if we're talking, you know, someone who is up in years and someone who has to get to their appointments, man, it's not like you can say, well, I can't make it today, I'll come next month. No, it's not like that. We need to see you, like, you know, now when your appointment is. And I'm glad to see that. Like I said, we talked with the folks in transportation not long ago, and they talked about that, you know. And I'm like, and see, these programs just fit like that, and it's really good to know. So when you talk about going and picking them up, getting to appointments, that's what service is all about, man. Woo!
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, where do we go from here, Erwin?
yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is that, you know, within our federal side of the Dreams program and stuff, veterans are a priority.
Yeah, that is what Ms.
And,
Hayes
Thank you. Thank you.
and that's, I mean, because often, you know, people have asked me, you know, all right, the Dreams program makes sense, or when you're Department of Labor, or the Voc Rehab makes sense because there are people with disabilities who are seeking employment. And then TARO, of course, you know, which is tribal employment rights, you know, related to, you know, people working and under contracts. Or why is the Office of Veterans Affairs under labor? Can you tell me that? And that's exactly why, because in most cases they qualify for these other services, or if not, they, you know, I mean, they're a priority with them.
Yeah.
And so that's why, because in the original design of the Department of Labor, I wanted to make sure that the programs that were going to be a part of it would have a voice, would be able to, you know, have that go-to executive director that would be there to, you know, advocate for them, whether it's on the executive side or even be there on the legislative side when we're working towards, you know, resolutions or even getting things authorized or even actively seeking grants again. So knowing that, you know, I felt like, you know, and I can remember back in the day when I was ETA and OVA was both under admin, and admin had like 19 programs. Guess who never got noticed or never got, you know, spoke up for and stuff. And I really felt like we needed a voice because I worked at that time with that director, and basically just, you know, anybody that was seeking employment, I'd say send them my way. You know, like they'll qualify as long as they honorably discharge and we get their DD 214, and we'll move from there. But again, I just kind of wanted to explain that because people have always continued to ask me that question.
And
Why is veterans?
well, I had never really thought about it, but
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it seems like since I've been here, that's where it's been. I just
Yeah,
assumed,
just that
well,
one.
and to me, in my mind, I was like, well, they're kind of doing the same thing as providing services for getting people to, because I'm sure there's a lot of veterans that could partake of this as well. It's like, yeah, I've got maybe I've got a disability thing, but Voc Rehab can help me with that, and I want to work,
Right.
so
Right.
it all fits together, and that makes perfect sense to me. Wow. Again, like that could be a whole other show. Jerry, come back next week.
Well, the one thing I want to say too is like, I know what's our enrollment now? 15,000 roughly.
I think you're a little over now.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have less than 300 registered veterans
Is that
with us.
right?
Yeah.
There have to be more out there.
I know they're out there somewhere.
Yeah.
They just like me. I didn't get registered till 2022. So
And let me and I think I have to ask every program. So and I think you mentioned it last time. The programs you have are most programs around here. They're a mixture of federal money and tribal money. I guess there's some state money involved as well.
Not yet.
Not-
Not
okay.
not with us. And
So with almost every program we're talking here, and like I said, some services are for tribal members only, and some other tribes. But I believe you said they don't even have to be a tribal citizen.
no, we've actually helped someone from the Kickapoo tribe, Apache tribe. We've helped anybody that comes into our office because we want to be affiliated with the VA. We help them, any way we see possible.
And that's what you mean by that is like someone even who's non-native, right?
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, totally. Like they're the ones that came to our event in July, and yeah, we try to help as many as possible.
Well, we'll convert them over.
Yeah.
Well, we can adopt them later. Right?
yeah.
Grow that to 16,000 real fast. Well, like I said, so here we are, just part 2. Now, do you have more people you want to bring on over?
No, this is all of them actually.
Oh, this is all of
time.
them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good because this has been really nice. Like I said, it's some programs we have done a 2-part, just to make sure we cover all the bases. So I want to say thank you to all for one more time. Just if people, maybe we didn't discuss this last time, but if people need or they want to see if they're eligible for any of these services, how do they get in touch with you guys?
We do have applications online on our webpage and
Probably
stuff.
on the Cheyenne and Arapaho Tribes
That's correct.
website.
Yes, and then of course too, if they want to come to our offices, we have 3 offices: one here at Concho, one in Watonga, and one in Clinton. Yeah, Clinton and Concho and Clinton are operated. There's people there all week long and stuff.
Okay.
Watonga at this point is through appointment only, but
Okay.
but still, we they do schedule times to be out there, and it is public notices put out and stuff. So when
Okay.
they'll be there. So
Man, all right. Well, thank you all so much for being here and giving up, part of your day to get out this. This is just great information. Like I said, every program that comes on here, I'm like, man, I learned a whole lot. Of course, I tend to forget stuff too, but I mean, it's so great to, like I said, because I think whoever is watching and or listening, I'm sure there's somebody go, I didn't know that. I'm gonna call them right now.
Yeah.
there you go. There
Or
you
I'm gonna
go.
get online, look for right now. So, anyways, thank you so much, Jerry, Erwin, and thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us here on this episode of Cheyenne and Arapaho Productions podcast. We'll see you next time.